gonna call Critter Busters?
Dad's all torn up and Mom's got like a harpoon thing in her neck and they're getting bigger.
They'll eat anything.
You know, those, man-eating hairballs that you do not believe in.
Critters. They bite.
Welcome back, everybody, to They Bite Podcast. That is PODCAST.
Oh, no.
Holy shit, dude. He just got right in. Wow.
I am Chris, Critterbuster Lax. I am here with Sean, the Bounty Hunter Beard.
Holy
and we
shit.
also have with us Chris, the Hungry Heifer Hampton.
So far, this is our best episode yet.
There you go.
Holy shit. Okay. I need to calm down or I'm just going to laugh this whole podcast. Well, we definitely need to be a good spirit, so.
So what we talking about today, guys?
What we've been waiting over a year for and discussing over a year on this podcast. Today we finally have seen it and get to discuss it.
That would be Critters, a new binge.
That's right. Oh yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to just start off with like complete negative here. How do you want to go about this, Chris? Do you want to just go into just spew our general thoughts, or do you want to kind of go over the episodes?
Let's go over the episodes. I'd say let's start out with episode 1, describe what's going on, and then our thoughts and views on it.
Okay, well, I know that one starts out with it starts out right with the critters. They're on their ship and they're watching a CGI monster movie, and they make fun of it because they use puppets in this movie, so I guess they've earned the smug.
Yeah, when I first watched this, like the second that popped up and I saw the CG and then the critters were like, "Turn this shit off," and I was like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me?" Like,
yeah.
they're self-aware that they're watching. I don't know what to think. I really paused it. I paused the show and I took a step back to think, what the hell is going on?
Oh, that's funny, dude. After the first episode, I literally went outside for a cigarette and came back in and started it over. I was just so fucking caught off guard. Nothing sunk in. So yeah, it's funny that you kind of had to stop it too.
Yeah, I stopped it within like a minute.
Yeah, I mean, the audacity is to start the whole thing off with that joke, and then I mean, yeah, the critters are puppets, but everything else might as well have been CGI. I mean, the humans fucking might as well have been CGI. There was a lot of CGI in this for them to be so ballsy to make that joke. Oh man, I don't know.
And the CGI was as bad as you can get, and I kind of can't give the we did it on purpose to look bad excuse either.
Oh no,
it was just bad. I mean, I'm sure they didn't really care to make it amazing simply because they knew they didn't have the money, but still.
Sure, but I mean, if you're gonna make that, like, it's kind of a smug fucking joke to make, and then like the CGI monster that they have on screen looks worse than any actual CGI monster. So it feels like they even had to like compensate for their joke. But anyway.
Yeah, well, okay, so you see the CGI creature and you're like, that looks fucking awful. Yeah. And then you're like, the critters are making the joke about it being a bad CGI effect, and you're like, oh, so they're going to use practical effects. And then it cuts to the bounty hunters in a spaceship who are chasing the critters, and the CGI over the bounty hunters is just as fucking bad as the CG in the movie they're making fun of.
Absolutely. And that's the first time we get to see the bounty hunter. I feel like it's the only time in the entire thing where they actually have colored heads and they're green. Actually, no, then I think it does it later on and they're blue. So for no reason Their heads are green in the beginning of this. They're no faces. And the critters are making some jokes and
maybe I almost feel like that the CG was so bad, maybe on top of it, just to try to make the puppets seem like they're not so bad, like that you'd almost look at the puppets and go, "Oh, look, they're practical, so it's good." Because
right,
I actually don't mind the one with the little flavor saver thing going on, like even though
he's
the same
cool.
sculpt as a bunch of others.
Yeah, they dial it up just right.
It's just not. They're just not good. They're just not good.
But no, they've grown on me. They've grown on me, but no, they're still not good.
Well, I mentioned this to you guys before, but I didn't. I don't think it was ever on anything. But I get, that you kind of have to make them, just for the podcast anyway. You kind of have to make them cheesy to get away with the stuff that they were trying to get away with in the show. I don't give that. It's also not an excuse for how bad they look, in my opinion.
Right.
But I get it. Like I was telling you, Sean, before, if you made the critters look like they did in part 1 or 2, the jokes won't fly as much. Not this.
No,
much,
you're right. They needed to look this bad for this bad a concept. I could tell that just from the trailer. What were we saying, Chris?
But I don't feel that was an attempt at let's make them look cheesy for the sake of this. I don't think I just don't think they were ever going to be any better. I think that probably most people, they probably just think that's what the critters look like. Because they're furry, they got some wrinkles, they got some teeth, they got the brows. That's what the critter looks like. I mean, you could see a lot of that with fan art and things like that, where they're like, "See, it's perfect."
Right.
You're like, no.
The designs are good enough for the person who doesn't remember this from 30 years ago, but they're like, "Oh yeah, critters."
Yeah, and as fan art, if these are just fan puppets, some dude did it, I think it's fun. Or if there's a sketch that looks just like it, I think it's really fun. But for my personal take. And then with the CG battles and all that kind of stuff, it does almost make them feel like they're going to be, that they look way better compared to the CG. But CG it's come so far now. That looks worse than almost any CG I can really even think of. I mean, when Johnny Hunters are cruising around and doing, remember that movie?
Don't say the Langoliers.
No. That was some terrible stuff too.
Because I don't think it's as bad as that.
It was that movie about. I think it was it was an old sci-fi story. Basically, these people go back in time, like a ripple in time or something weird. They go back in time, they kill dinosaurs, and then someone steps on the butterfly. Well, they did this whole futuristic scene where they're supposed to be walking through the future.
Sound of Thunder.
Sound of Thunder, there you go. And when you watch them walk, they're just walking on a treadmill, and it's so terrible CG. Now going back to that CG looks amazing compared to the stuff that was shown, at least right off the bat. It was almost so much that it was so distracting that you couldn't even really, if there were good laughs in it, you almost couldn't get any of the good laughs because you're like, this isn't even funny. It's just so.
This is where I land on that, because I feel like a certain person could argue being like, well, dude, you're missing the joke. And it's like, I don't think, maybe I am. Am I supposed to be watching this? Am I supposed to be watching this? And is this one of those things you watch and you sit there and point out everything that's bad? Oh, that looks like shit. Because I just feel like that's just talking down to me. Like I said the other day, dude, it's like giving me a really easy target and letting me throw things at it. I don't like that kind of humor. Like, don't give me a turd so I can sit there and be like, look at the poop. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it's obviously poop. It doesn't make me clever for noticing that. But anyways.
It would be so blatant just trying to make it. Like, I felt like they were trying to show we're going to make this really bad and it's funny. But it was just, you don't need, like, if you're going to be funny, do it with funny things. But
I still don't know if that's really what they were going for. But maybe that's just my ignorance.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I don't buy that theory. I don't buy that excuse. But maybe that is what they were going for. Who knows? It just felt like, well, if you were, to me, it totally missed the mark. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, before our listeners tune out, I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, they're just bashing it. I don't want to listen to it." But there is a few things that I liked about the series, which we'll get to whenever we get through it. But I just want to say, while you guys are talking about the bounty hunters and stuff, everything about the bounty hunters I fucking hated.
Yes, that was by far. If there was anything redeeming in the film, the bounty hunters were nowhere near that. That's for sure.
No, they were the absolutely worst part. Wait, no, I take that back. They weren't. Damn. Oh boy.
You even had them in the film. I think you could have made them. You cut all the bounty hunter parts out. It wouldn't have phased anything because the one little battle you had with when the guy's like going around blasting stuff CG style. Even that.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, the one battle was fine because he used the golf club, but that also makes no sense because she's like, you can't go into a school with a gun, and he listens to her. That's not our fucking bounty hunters. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, we're jumping ahead. We're jumping ahead too. Yeah. So this is going to land us on so many of the same topics over and over again. But so then the bounty hunters get shot down by the critters and they land in the fucking desert. I don't know why the fuck they had to land in a desert because they obviously couldn't replicate it. What's that?
Well, yeah, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't add to them being in Australia.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's the desert. But then them being in Australia doesn't add to the story. It doesn't make it funnier. Maybe they had an accent at one point, that maybe that was supposed to be funnier. They wore a hat. But if you're going to say, well, we had to.
They wore a hat.
Yeah. In Canada, we don't have deserts anywhere. Fine. I'm cool with that. Then don't make them land in the desert. Because maybe, again, that was the joke that we missed. But when I was a kid, we had these sticker books that you basically get the Simpsons or Freddy Krueger, whatever it was, and it's a background. Then you get stickers that were cut out, and you stick them where you want. But they always had a white
sticky form play sets,
never cut out. And when you put them wherever you wanted, the damn stickers still felt like they didn't fit on the page. You're like, this would be cool, even though I'm 6, but it's still not that cool. That's what the CG reminded me of. They were so like, I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, and you guys are watching them on big LCD screens. I got my little 9-inch TV, and it looks like ass to me. So I can't even imagine watching it the way you're supposed to. Oh man!
But even the CG background. What's that?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Even the CG background isn't the worst part about the bounty hunters. It's the fact that it is a green screen, so they can't run or walk anywhere. They have to basically run in place or jog as slow as possible to make it look like they're moving quickly. And that's what makes it so bad.
Yes, it does. And their encounter with the 2 Australian guys, they steal their faces, and the one dude pretty much doesn't even notice, and then he gives them GPS directions on his phone. What the hell? Like,
I kept waiting for a joke, and there was just no joke in it.
I think I might have just. I think I just explained the joke, but it's like either I am missing every fucking joke on this, or it's just not fucking funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that they're like, okay, we have to run on foot. How many miles? 10,000. Okay, run faster. Yeah, that's cute. But it seems like there were a lot more likely things they could have done. That was a total budget thing right there. Well, we'll just have them walk the whole way. What? Okay.
The whole thing didn't make sense. It wasn't a cool enough dogfight to have it even them get shot down and crash. They're the worst bounty hunters ever to have this little Nerf gun pop out of the side.
In fact, I'm hitting play and stop on my TV as we're going on this just to remind me shit. And I watched this 7 fucking times, by the way. And
I've only seen it once. You'll definitely have to remind me because I don't remember specific. I remember 6, and I remember the last one as far as what happens in it. But I remember, same as you guys, after the first one, we had no words to say, but we paused it before we started the next one, and both me and my son just sat there looking at our laps for a second because I was watching it with my son, who will, by the way, people always say, oh, your son thinks that way because you do. No, my son will call me out if he thinks something's different. He's his own dude. He wanted nothing to do with it. He looked over at me and then was like, all right, let's do it. Number 2, but it took us a minute. We had to stop. And it was like when I watched part 2, I had that weird feeling when I was a kid. I was like, I can't believe I just watched this. I was like it was like a little weird dream feeling.
Yeah, I got that. I got it.
I didn't get that with this the same way the last time.
I did.
Cool feeling.
No. Yeah.
This time I was like, oh no, is this really it? Like, I knew it was going to be cheesy and bad, but again, I'm going to be the farthest guy on the. I like the least. I know Sean's probably more in the middle, and Chris maybe a little bit more liking it, but I definitely.
This was like asking the girl out that you always wanted to, and she agrees, and then you realize, like, right around episode 6 into the date, that she's going to rape you.
Yeah. And it's not going to be cool.
yeah, it's like not going to be. Yeah, it's going to suck. Like, she's like mean about it and has toys and all right. Anyways,
yeah. Well, what else happened? So at the end of the first episode, was it the bounty hunters trying to run away or something, or did it actually get to the kids? I don't remember.
Yeah, go ahead.
It gets to the kids. The main kid, his name is Christopher. I don't know if that's just weird to me because we were like emailing Jordan Rubin and everything, and then
I feel like it's an homage to you. but then once I saw it, I was like, oh man, that's like really mean.
We're introduced to Chris and his good friend Charlie, and Charlie is trying to convince Chris to join a hot dog eating contest. But Chris wants to go and see a girl that he likes, but the girl has no interest in him. Her name is Dana. And they decide to go. I don't know. Is that episode 2 or is that still episode 1?
No, we're still on episode 1. Yeah.
Okay. So they go to visit her at the pet center, and we find out that all of the pets have been killed.
Right. And that just kind of looks like a bunch of party store gore effects to me.
Yeah, nothing was eaten. It was almost seemed like the critters ripped everybody and all the animals in half.
Oh, that's a main plot point we're forgetting. The critters aren't supposed to be eating on this mission.
Yeah, the episode is titled specifically that. It's actually titled No Eating. So
right. Yeah.
That's something that really bothered me, is because I actually made sure I wanted to say this is in the first 4 films, no matter what happens in the franchise, no matter how comical the franchise got, the critters were always these vicious, feral, ravenous little monsters, right? That you would maybe have discovered in the woods that if you got near them, they were going to attack you, no matter what. And in this one, they give them human emotions. They make them feel disappointed. They make them feel happy. They're sexually aroused, and it does not fit. I mean, we're speaking of critters being sexually aroused, and
God damn it,
it does not fit the creature's aspect whatsoever, and it bothers me so much that they do that.
I do like the not eat thing. And there's not much about this I do like, though, to be honest. So that's one of the few things where I was like, oh, that's cute. Just because they're talking to each other and it's critters. Like, this is a true testament that if you put critters on screen and they're doing critter-esque things, I'm going to like it a little bit. Once it gets to the humans and shit, though, and if they fucked up the bounty hunters. In my opinion, that's almost worse than fucking up the critters. Man, I mean, when you think about Charlie and everything.
Yeah, if you're not going to use him in it, which I think that one article said they may have tried at one point, but if you're not going to use him, there's just something, I don't know, where I almost just feel like either leave it out, or I was almost thinking too, why don't they just instead of making him look so bad and shape-shifting so bad, why don't you just make him something else? I mean, I'm sure there's other alien life forms out there that are bounty hunters too. It's not just this one race that just bounty hunts. So I don't know. I thought that if you're going to try something different, do that, because it was too much of a slap in the face of how bad it was to do them the way they were, or just don't show the transformations. I don't know. It just seemed like call them something else. Just call them something else. Or, I mean, have them a different alien race or something. I don't know. Because I felt the same way, even though, you kind of need to have bounty hunters in there for some, just because they're in all the movies. Just either leave them out or do them a little more justice than that.
It definitely needed a lot more justice than that. That was.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, but boy, I mean, I look back at the first Critters, and honestly, I think the only reason it's called Critters is because of Gremlins, because it definitely should have been called Bounty Hunters. And because of the title Critters, it does get lumped in with the Little Rubber Monster movie thing, which I love those. But obviously, lately, people, when you say you don't like this movie, people are like, well, what do you expect? These were just bullshit fucking B movies, like Munchies. And it's like, man, there was so much more substance, especially to the first movie. The first movie was dark. It had atmosphere. It's actually scary at times. Even as a dog, it could still get you on edge and whatnot. And it had awesome fucking monsters. And the goddamn bounty hunters going around blowing shit up without any fucking clue of what they're more or less doing to our planet. And they have no care for us whatsoever. That's what all the comedy derives. The first Critters is so much more hysterical than any of this fart joke humor that is Critters New Binge.
I laugh every time I watch them, especially when they're there in the church and it's just blasting.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
I laugh every time because, some people are watching thinking he's doing something. It's like, no, he's just blasting shit.
Yeah.
I mean, according to the script, when she falls on the organ, he shoots that, or they hear the organ. That's why they go there, because it sounds like screaming of some kind. Other than that, it's just them just shooting stuff. They're like, we're here to blast everything. Hell, when they go to the house, that one critter rolls down the stairs, and Lee again shoots 4 feet above it. It seems like just to blow a hole in the wall. It's like,
hell yeah, it's just like asserting dominance in the room. It's like the gun expands like a dick, and they just start spraying jizz everywhere.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna throw this out there. As much as I might have a couple crumbs that I don't not like about the new Binge, but I do kind of like the guns were for them making everything so cheesy and really not doing. Really kind of not caring too much about the way things looked. Well, at least that's the way it comes off. The guns were kind of fun, even though they were just Nerf guns with some PVC on top. I don't remember who it was on the rehatched page, but someone made a replica, and I think it was the exact Nerf gun as they were using. But those were kind of cool. I was like, all right, if you're gonna do the new bounty hunter gun a little differently, those are kind of fun looking. Not that you really noticed it in the film or the series.
I was gonna say I was so put off by the bounty hunters, I did not notice the guns whatsoever.
Yeah. I did notice the guns, and I hated them. I think it's funny.
I think the guy's post.
Oh, okay. No, I think it's funny though. The few things that each of us like, none of us have agreed on so far. That's just,
I think we're all struggling to find stuff. We're all grasping. Maybe that part,
Yeah, I definitely, I didn't think I was gonna like the hot dog covering itself in ketchup, but I do.
I love it now. Now that that's been the perfect most. It's just been the best comment that's been on that forum in I think as long as I've been on there. Both times, I I'll never not think of it. We know you're alive, Chris. We know you're alive.
So that ends episode 1. They see the ripped up pets and. Yeah.
Well, we're still introduced to some other characters though. We have Chris's mom, her name is Veronica, and we have Uncle Murray, which is played by Gilbert Gottfried.
Okay, that's actually in episode 2, so we are going into.
Oh, is it?
2. Yeah.
Okay.
You're muffling out, dude.
Oh, I said the cardboard cutout Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And he woke up and they just started shooting him, and they're like, "Okay, we got him. Get him out of here before he realizes we date raped him."
Episode 2 actually starts with the sheriff that we interviewed there with some other female sheriff, and they're at the crime scene, I guess, of the pet store or whatever the fuck it is. The sheriff literally picks up the dog, the dead carcass, and is like, "This looks a lot like my dog." That pretty much tells you the humor that this thing is going with right there.
Mm-hmm.
They go into the pets. Yeah. You didn't mind the sheriffs?
They weren't in very much. They weren't in it much, but there was I don't know, maybe, I don't know why I'm thinking, but I'm only thinking of this as we're talking, but I didn't really mind them. I thought that they could have been way worse. I thought they played the kind of the dumb sheriff, corny people. They might have been, out of all the people, besides what's his face? I forget his name from Reno 911. Who was?
Oh, he was good in this
he's
actually.
hilarious.
Yeah, he was actually.
I thought the two cops were they weren't used very well, but when they were there, they didn't bug me at all. They reminded me of those just like they kept leading up to something that could be played off really funny, but of course it wasn't written well enough to be funny.
Well, it's a classic. That's a classic written duo. I mean, even Last House on the Left kind of has it.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
the dumb cop duo and stuff. Then I don't know if there's much more to add on to that, but then we get to school and the hot dog eating contest. He signs up for it, and we meet the girls who's Chris's love interest boyfriend, who is a big mean guy.
Yeah, guys, I didn't mind the actual friendship / relationship that they had going on with Chris and Charlie. I actually liked those two characters. I thought they were actually interesting, and they I didn't think the acting was bad for them.
They made sense as a friend.
Same thing as Dana, the love interest. I didn't mind her.
No,
I didn't mind. I didn't mind the acting from the boyfriend, but he wasn't used properly, I don't think.
Yeah, you're right.
He was used properly. Yeah.
Nah, I think probably my favorite character, human-wise, is Charlie. Actually, there wasn't really anything too unlikable about him. He seemed believable to me. And really
badly written lines, but he was trying to play them off good, like at the party and stuff. Yeah.
And the bully, he does act it really well, actually. But yeah, he seems written terribly. I mean, it almost seems like they tell him, like, no matter what, even if you get bitten by a critter, don't act like you ever saw it. It's like, what is up with that, dude? Like,
zero.
He never acknowledges it. I think maybe that joke might be going over my head too.
So that's something that we talked about in the last podcast episode, Sean, where the characters in the movie don't play the situation serious, even though that the acting is serious, but it doesn't. I can't explain it very well, but it makes you not like what you're seeing on screen, because in reality, if that was to happen, none of those characters would be acting that way.
Exactly. No, I think the way I put it, it's like Critters is a ridiculous scenario of a movie, but everyone is playing it like it's a serious thing. And that's where the fucking humor derives from in it. That's why all of the humor falls flat on this, because there might as well be a rim shot after every joke. It's just like, like, oh, dude, so tasteless.
Every joke, pretty much, you could think like that's what you came up with that. Like I could think of the same like version, just a different joke for that. You almost, while you're watching, going like, my son's kind of like, he's not even laughing at this stuff. I mean, there's one part in the later episode that I laughed at one point, which was not going to get there. But
I had my chuckles. I was smiling the first half of it the first time, even though I was sitting there knowing it was bad. The trailer set me up for that. So I was just kind of charmed by the idea that I was seeing Critters again.
They explained to Gore Fest quite a bit. They were like, I don't remember if it was Glenn or if it was somebody else that was on, if they were on the page on the Facebook group, or if it was an interview, but they were talking about how it's like really gory and fun. So it makes it, that was something I was kind of waiting for. But the gore was, like you said, it was very store-bought. There was nothing good about it. There was no good makeup. The critters didn't actually eat anything except for those 2 CG things that we'll talk about later. But even when people are getting bit, like you said, they weren't actually getting bit. You had a critter on your back and you're running around for a second and there's not even a mark on you. Again.
Oh yeah, they never, unless it was a character that was dead, then they'd show marks. But yeah, the critter'd be on some. Yeah, like I think of like part 3, like it or not, when it's on Frank and he rips him off, like the gnarly like big bite that it has taken out of his shoulder is so fucking awesome. No, that's totally lacking. No, the gore was nothing totally party store gore.
Yeah, I will say this though, something good that I liked. I don't know how you guys feel, but whenever they actually use the balls that are rolling and the camera views of the balls rolling and stuff, I thought that was good. I thought those looked pretty close to the originals.
Well, yeah, I didn't think about it at all, so it definitely didn't upset me. That's for sure.
I didn't even notice. I was so like just whatever about it. I didn't even realize till you guys mentioned it earlier that Chris's buddy's name was Charlie. That's how little I think I was in such shock when you guys mentioned. I was like, oh yeah, that was his name.
I watched it 7 times, and the only reason I just figured it out is because Chris brought it up while we were talking. Well, there's never
I don't feel as bad then.
There's never a scene where anyone refers to him as Charlie.
Yeah,
it's in the description. So
yeah, that's the only reason why we know. But and Chris,
there's something they missed too. They should have played at least just say that, like, because every single person knows Charlie is the most connected character to any of the Critters movies. Even though a lot of people instantly say Brad, but it's
these references aren't put in for us. These references are put in for the small minority that actually really enjoys this and then goes and checks out the old movies and then is like, they named him Charlie. It's not for us, man. This movie.
Well, yeah, it's not an Easter egg. They're not Easter eggs. And I'll say this: I brought this up to you guys like off the podcast too, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't know, but this does not. And reading interviews, I feel the very same way. Everyone is talking, including myself, when we were discussing the last time I was with you guys about, it seems like at least a fan is trying. This is not made by fans. Maybe some of the crew, but at least above the line, which is like your lead writer, your producers and directors, things like that.
No,
this does not feel at all that they were fans. It feels like somebody who goes, wait a minute, Critters, yeah, that Critters 3 where they fart and blow bubbles. I'll make those. We'll make a movie like that. This does not feel like a movie made by an actual fan.
No.
Just because you say, oh, yeah, I remember that and like it. Like Munchies. I'm not a fan, but if you talk about Munchies, I'll remember it. I own the movie. But I'm not going to say I'm like a real fan. Or going and rewatching it once isn't going to cut it. So,
well, there's an interview.
But it did not come on.
No, there's an interview that just dropped about 3 hours ago with Jordan Rubin, and he actually mentioned Critters Rehatched. Yeah, he says there's a fan group.
Cool, yeah.
And but he pretty much admitted, like I remember it from when I was a kid, and then when I got the offer, I went back and watched it. So no, I wouldn't say that he's a fan. He's not someone who's, watched it every 5 years even or anything like that. So no, I don't think this is too near and dear to him. And honestly, I think he thought he was getting a hold of something that he could do whatever he wanted to and no one would be none the wiser. He pretty much acts like he's a little bit shocked that there was a fan base. And of course, he's positive about it. He's like, I hope they like it and stuff. And I do have some guilt that, but no, I don't. Sorry.
No, I don't. Listen, I mentioned this to Glenn too. It's like, you know what? Any form of art, no matter what it is, when you're done making it and you say, okay, here it is, it's not yours anymore. So regardless, and I'm not saying fuck Jordan Rubin, he's a piece of shit, nothing like that.
No.
I think what he made is absolute shit, in my personal opinion. I think it's absolute garbage and all that. But I'm not trying to personally attack the dude. Like if I saw him in person, I wouldn't be like, I'm mad at you. But if you asked me what I thought, I'd be like, well, I'll tell you exactly what I think if you want to know.
Yeah.
It's, and that's just because it is. It's not even because I love the Critters film so much, at least the first two. I'm one of the few that's on the page that really only is into the first two at all. That's not why I don't enjoy this. And I like some really bad movies. Sean, you've seen a good portion of my collection now that you've scrolled through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a movie called Monster on there. This is just really bad. I just think this is bad.
I got the same DVD.
You got Monster?
I've got my DVD, yeah.
You got Monstered?
I'm proud of you, Chris.
I got Monstered. I got Cheetos. We're going to have a party.
Yeah. But that was something that I just thought was like, it doesn't feel at all like any form of a fan. We had that analogy meeting talk about that you posted the other day, and I honestly do think that's the best analogy that there could possibly be.
No, I agree. But we'll bring that up when the time comes. What do you think, Chris, as far as all this, man?
I actually agree with you, man. I mean, reading that article where he talks about, remembering him, going back and rewatching him.
Yeah.
It seems like he was given an opportunity that he didn't want to pass on. I mean, hell, I wouldn't, if somebody came to me and said, oh, you remember this movie? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember. He's like, well, you want to make one? I'd be like, well, yeah, sure I would. Let me go back and rewatch them, and then I'll write something, you know?
Yeah, you can't hate that hustle.
But
it didn't seem like he's doing anything else. I mean, why not? I mean, he's making Drone the movie, so.
Well, Drone looks like a good movie to me, honestly. But it's not going to ruin anything for me. I'm not going to like be like, man, that guy fucked up drones, you know. So, but anyways, let's continue on into the episodes here before we. So
I think we're on 3 now because 2 nothing really happens, but more of a character.
Well, now they just went to that. This is one of my favorite scenes in it. Actually, they go to this old couple's house. They shoot them with darts and they tie them up, and they, the critters that is, tie them up and I don't know, interrogate them. I guess I don't know why I like the scene. Actually, as I'm describing it, I realize I don't.
Yeah,
it is really funny.
I liked
the guy
it.
had food on his face the whole time. That was something I kind of laughed at. The old man. It's always funny when someone drops their face in a plate of food, and whatever she was eating was kind of on his face. That was kind of
in fact, that old couple might be the best acting in the whole. Oh, okay.
I want to ask you guys something, because I know that in the first 4 movies, the main characters we follow the main characters, and the critters are kind of like the side attraction. And in this one, it focuses a lot more on the critters and the people as the side attraction. And I think that hurt it a lot, because the more the critters talk and the more that we see them interacting, the less I liked. I wanted to see more of the characters this time. Maybe it was because of the effects, or maybe it was because of the talking and stuff. I don't know, but I wanted to see more people instead of the critters this time around when I was watching it.
I'll tell you why it doesn't work as a perfect contrast in it. We start off with the critters. We see them. We get their character development. And then it tries to bring in a scene where, like, you know, let's just say we're the bounty hunters in the school. And they all start, like, jumping through the windows and stuff. Are we supposed to be afraid that they're being attacked by the critters at that point? There's no suspense in that. The critters are already, we're watching them. This one thing it's aware of, even though the old ones, you did watch it and you were like watching it for the critters and you love the critters and stuff, it didn't play it that way. This time it's really giving you that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. I think it could be done right, but I think it would have to be Saturday morning cartoon style animated or graphic novel.
Well, look at part 2. Part 2 pulled it off, as in you got to see a ton of critters and all that kind of stuff. And it was still based on the characters. And again, I'm not trying to say this is, you know, I'm not trying to get in one of those Steven Spielberg debates like some of those people want to say, but what makes you care about a person living or dying in any film is you actually got to care about the character, love them or hate them on some level. So suspense was out the window on this show. Fine, I'll give it that too. But then you're showing too much of something that I guess I can't really knock that as much as I kind of want to, because I don't like the look of those critters. I think they're just so bad. And I'm sorry, Glenn, but the puppeteering, the mouths, there's a couple points I thought was all right, but they just, the legs were sticking out to the side and all this kind of stuff. It looked like someone who grabbed a hand puppet and just started playing with it.
I don't think Glenn's listening anymore at this point.
But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to knock anybody, because there were some parts when the Fu Manchu guy was at the computer looking at porn and stuff and all that. That was puppeteered okay, but for the most part, it wasn't. So
I think the puppeteering was actually worse than the designs.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And that's fine. Again, whatever, because by this point, whatever. But I think for this, you did need to see the critters a whole bunch more, because as far as the characters and suspense, there was nothing good about them. Even the couple that I kind of liked, and I wasn't a fan of the main character. The Charlie guy didn't mind all that. There wasn't enough of them to care enough to follow them enough. There's nothing really in it to really grab. So the best thing to do, smart filmmaking wise, as far as if you're going to be making this, if I'm looking at it in the editing room, I'm going to go, at least give them more critters.
Yeah, I think they did the right thing, even though I do agree in the same breath with Chris that it probably hurt it at the same time.
It still doesn't work.
But, yeah, I would have rather they did this than give me more of the humans, because if it was done better, I would have preferred that, but there's nothing to them. I mean, intersect and disagree with me if you want, Chris. But
I agree with Chris actually 100%, just like you do. I just think for this, it's like, well, what else are you gonna do? It's kind of like just keep showing what someone said, the dumpster fire thing. There's like, you might as well keep watching that part. It's just, that's kind of the way I thought about it. Or I'm thinking about it now that you bring it up. I build up so that you, like Jaws, you do want to see Jaws more, but at the same time, it works better because
just like Alien
you
2.
want to see them more. Like, I'm trying to do this critter from part 1, and I can't get good reference because they never really show them good. But at the same time, as a film, man, if you saw them more or clearer,
I'd ruin it.
Even though they looked amazing, it just would take you out of the film a little bit more.
Yep. Yeah. And the one thing too is the character of Chris, that scene in that next episode that we're talking about, where he's talking to his mom, because he just got in a fight at school and he's talking to his mom and he's like defending her because the kid called her a whore, and then she gets mad and hits him. And like I thought that drama played out well because I started feeling emotions for the Chris character, but then later on in the movie, everything I hate about he's one of the things I hate about it. So it didn't play off in any way that I wanted.
They did start to give a little bit of emotion, and I was high enough to where I was starting to feel it too and getting into that character. Because he comes home and his mom's sleeping with a delivery man, and then he's like, I was defending you because someone called you a slut, but maybe they were right. And then she slaps him, and honestly, that's probably some of the best acting in the whole thing. Because then he's like, I got invited to a party tonight. I never get invited to parties tonight. He really does play that whole thing well and whatnot. But then it turns right back to the delivery man, and he just goes, you have a wonderful family. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. Like every time it gets a little bit serious, it like Modern Family Guy's my ass on it. Like Peter jumps in and is like, everything's cynical and stupid. Like, fuck. Like,
do it funny if you're going to do it funny. It just wasn't funny. That's the problem. It was like, if you're going to keep the jokes coming, make it really funny at least. But again, there were so many spots you're like, there's a great joke right there. You just didn't actually do it. Like,
and the delivery guy is like this California, like bro ham with like a backwards hat. That's just like, why, like has like a stoner vibe to him and shit. So the mom's obviously, but whatever. We also get introduced to
Gilbert. Where we learn about him wanting the critters wanting him, or is that a later episode?
No, we're still like at the beginning of episode 2 here. We get introduced to Gilbert Godfrey right here. It's really brief. He just like makes a Viagra joke. If you guys want to say some more about Gilbert Godfrey, go ahead. But honestly, I think it was one of the worst parts of the whole fucking thing.
I don't have anything to say about him because it was kind of pointless. Like, I don't know if it just didn't happen. It's just because it was Gilbert Gottfried and I knew that he's like a big name. Like if you put somebody else in there, is it really it's not going to affect anything because his character doesn't do anything. He says comical stuff, but it's not funny. And it doesn't make any sense on anything he's trying to do.
He's literally become a parrot.
Yeah. Unintended on that. He's a hilarious guy too. He was just basically put in as a prop. He's a prop in the film. Like Gilbert Gottfried's attached.
Yes, it's like here's our most notable actor in the thing. They could have like had Johnny Depp do that character. You can't just throw anybody in and be like, want a Viagra? I'm eating a banana. I'm hiding something in the garage that's growling like a critter, and I'm stealing food and feeding it to it. Also, they set up that plot device, but damn, I can't spoil it yet. But we'll get to it. So,
well, I guess we're on to 3 by now. I think we're at least on to 3 because nothing really.
Yes, I'm getting on to 3 right now. Yeah, they eat the people, and they're like, guys, where's your self-control? It was cute. In my opinion.
So they did. Yeah, they did eat the old people, right?
Yeah, they eat the old people off screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's in 3? Again, I remember the.
Chris comes home.
I don't remember it.
Chris comes home and his mom's passed out, probably from being a slut, and then.
That's where he's creeping out of the house, right?
Yeah, he's trying to creep out of the house, and then Gilbert Gottfried eats a banana at him, makes a few sex jokes, and then I think he gives them some life advice that's like, be yourself, even if it's on another planet. It's like, it's so nothing. It's so nothing. You know, it's supposed to show you pretty much that he's an uncle that cares about him and he lets him go out to the party. That's it.
What else happens in that episode besides they make it to the party, I guess, right?
So yeah, then they make it to the party. The bully guy doesn't want him in. Okay. Then
I actually laughed at that scene. Whenever they ring the doorbell, the boyfriend opens up and he's like, "No way I'm letting you guys in here. No way in hell." And then the girl shows up and she's like, "Let him in." He's like, "All right, come on in." I thought that was funny.
Oh, before that, actually, the critters go to a diner looking for Veronica. And like the one critter puts some like little glasses up to his eyes, you know, little microscope glasses, and they roll through the diner, and some girl's like, "Look, mommy, a porcupine." And
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, again, I thought the rolling of the critter down the aisle or whatever, I thought that was done well.
That was good. Oh, and then it leads into the critter. He gets on a computer, says that our technology is primitive, but then is also for some reason surprised with internet pornography. And he's looking at a website called Totally Shaved, and he says he'd like to eat her or something.
Yeah, like can I complain a little bit about the critter's language real quick?
You can complain all you want, man.
So in the original films, when the critters speak, you can tell that they have their own language.
Yes, you're right.
Even though that it is derived by people making a little bit of like gargling sounds, but also using a little bit of an actual language, it sounds like it's a legit language that a creature from another planet would use. In this one, they make mumbling of our own words just in critter form. Like when he's sitting on the computer and he's like, "Oh, baby," I'm like, "That is stop. That's not what a critter would do."
Yeah, you're right.
Well, again, if you're gonna make it funny, but it just didn't work. Nothing worked. Because they're going to make, we're trying to make it funny. It's like, then make it funny. But I'm with you 100%. I thought, again, they talked so much that it was just like it's like the Walking Dead, like gargling zombie sound where I have to mute it sometimes. It just got really obnoxious to even hear.
I just don't even get why these jokes are funny. I mean, it's 2019. We live in the world where South Park's already happened and stuff like that. Like, this probably would have been funny on the Sci-Fi Channel back in 1994, just because like a sex joke was like, you know, unheard of on TV. But at this point, who laughs hysterically at this lowbrow of humor where it's just like, porn, sex, you know, like what is that? So I don't even know who this is trying to make laugh, because I feel like even a 6-year-old boy nowadays would be like, yeah, I know what sex is. You know, like people are past that. True. When it comes to humor, people have evolved a lot in 20, 30 years. So this is just too fucking bottom of the barrel for me.
Well, the fart jokes can still be played funny if someone does them right, obviously, you know, here and there and stuff. But again, I'm with you 100%. It's like
when somebody makes a fart joke funny, I am always impressed by the reinvention of a good fart joke. That is always
But
fun.
It happens is what I'm saying. And if you're going to go off, hey, we're making fart joke humor and potty humor and dick jokes, fine. There's plenty of good material out there. At least steal it, but don't. It sounded like it was being stolen from like a 6-year-old. Not even thought of new. It was just. It's kind of like when you have your nephew comes by and says, "Hey, I want to tell you a funny joke," and he tells it to you, and you're like, "Oh wow, here you have it." And you laugh. You like have to pretend to laugh.
Yeah,
it's almost like that type of jokes where you're like, "No one's around, so I'm not pretending to laugh."
Then we do get a pretty good. Do you guys like the shot where it's like above the town and you see all the balls like spread out going down the streets? It's like a 2-second shot.
Yeah, it's all CG, but you know what? It kind of reminded me as if I was watching either a cartoon or an animated version of it, and I actually liked it.
That's what this should be anyway.
Actually, you know what? It kind of resembled an old NES video game.
Yeah, it looked like Ghostbusters, only it was critters.
Yeah. One last thing on the joke. You know what it seems like? Because the movie, it seems like it wants to have adult content for kids. That's almost what it seems like. It's a kid's show with adult content, so it's not enough to. It's like you almost could have little kids watch this. There's a couple parts you might go, "Hey, don't talk about this," but it's like you guys are going full blown. We're doing adult humor.
Yeah,
like a little kid would do adult humor. So it's not even good.
Yeah, the only show I know that's ever done that good was Ren and Stimpy, you know, with like hidden innuendos and stuff. Otherwise, and even that creeped me out a bit.
But that was hidden innuendos, where this one, it's like,
this is blunt
saying, we're going to make a dick joke or we're going to make a fart joke. They're not even trying to hide it. They're not trying to let the parents, while they're watching something, get a chuckle. It's just like, this is like trying to tell me.
And there has been a few people that have been reading the group and reading about like the plot twist that we'll get to that are like, I'm not going to show this to my kids now. And I don't really feel bad about that, because who wants the first time they explain what sex is to their kids to be because of fucking Critters a New Binge?
No, I agree. It's not for kids, but it just seems like it. It's done by kids, not that it's like adult humor done by children. That's
okay. I'll give you that.
Moments where kids try to tell you a joke and it's not funny.
Okay, I'll give you that.
At least your kid, you'll laugh. You know.
Yeah. Well, if I was a kid and
anyway,
made this,
that's enough of those jokes.
Okay. So then we're at the party and he walks in on the boyfriend cheating on the girl there, and a critter shoots a spike into the girl's neck. So then they both start accusing each other of roofing the girl, even though the one kid obviously just fucking walked in, so it makes no sense. Then Charlie walks in and starts filming it with his flip phone, which at first I really thought, I was like, oh, so they filmed this 12 years ago.
Well, wait. So first the critter attacks the boyfriend bully guy, and he has to have help getting the critter off of him for a minute or so. And then the second that the critter is off of him, he turns around toward Christopher and is like complaining about like getting caught with the girl again instead of worried about the critter attack.
Right. And Christopher even goes, "Are you serious?" So I think that was supposed to be played for joke. But the bully never, for the rest of the series or the rest of the show, whatever it is, acknowledges that the critters are there. There's even a point where she's like, "You lied about those giant fur balls." And he goes, "What the fuck is up with the teacher?" You know, it's like, what the hell? So, I don't know where they're going with that. That dude was just written really bad. So then the girlfriend comes in, and pretty much the bully just instantly goes, "These two guys roofied that girl on the bed," which is just that is pretty fucked up to just throw that on someone. So apparently she believes him, but instead of calling the cops or seeing if the girl's okay, she's just like, "I'm not going to talk to you guys anymore." You guys are rapists.
Well, I think the girl woke up by that point, didn't she? So she probably just like, "You're a whore. He's a dick. You guys are jackasses. I'm out."
I don't know. If she really believed they roofied him, I don't know. I'm giving you the silent treatment. So then it gets back. He gets back home, and his mom's woken up from being drunk. And there's this really awkward scene where they're passing the orange juice bottle back and forth to each other.
Oh yeah, I know, the really bad like back and forth camera thing. I thought, was like, guys, this is not.
Like, I'm pretty sure that they like don't both drink out of it, but he keeps passing it to her, and she passes it back. But the whole time, instead of focusing on the dialogue, my like germophobia is just kicking in. Like, is she gonna drink it too? Oh God,
I was thinking the same thing. Like the second that he took the drink, I was like, "Oh no, he drank after her." And that's all I focus on.
I know, dude. Why did they do that? Honestly, it's probably my favorite scene in the show, because I feel like it's the one scene that is unintentionally funny. Where everything else they're trying to be it's trying to be funny with how bad it is. I feel like that was the one moment where he's like, well, this will be a really clever setup going back and forth, and it just fucking falls.
Yeah, it was not clever.
Then it pans to Gilbert Godfrey's office, and he's got something under the blanket in a cage that's growling like a critter. And the kids, then we're on episode 3 now or whatever, and the kids take the camera footage to the cops, and the cops, as we explained, they're dumb, so they don't believe it, even with proof right there. And they start making.
It wasn't good dialogue, but again, I like those guys during that part.
Yeah,
you knew exactly what was going to happen. It was completely predictable, but I didn't mind those two.
This scene actually pissed me off when they're looking at the cell phone and they see the critter, the Sean Owen Roberts guy. I don't know what his character name is. The deputy. He's like, oh man, my nephew. Yeah, my nephew makes stuff like this on his home videos. Better effects though. And I was like, are they seriously? They seriously just made a joke about their puppets being bad.
I know. Like, why didn't Glenn make a fucking post about that? Oh shit.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
That was a joke.
Well, every person that he shows the camera to doesn't believe him off that footage because the puppets are so fucking stupid looking that everyone who sees them pretty much is like, well, that's a video of a fucking puppet. Mm-hmm. They don't. Yeah. No one even tries to pretend like they look real. So, boy,
that's the reason why I was pissed off, is because if you're going to make a movie about these creatures and someone captures one of them, you don't make fun of the actual creature that you're making a movie about.
Well, at least they don't have anybody fuck the critters or anything.
It'd be like if I made a Fast and the Furious movie and then went out of the way inside the movie to make fun of every single vehicle used in the movie.
Yeah.
That's good. So then the deputy, he literally makes a poop joke. He's like, I'm going to go take a dump in the pool, or, and
yeah.
It's just
the old lady that was sitting there had a funny expression. There you go.
Yeah, he liked that.
The old lady looked over for a second, like, good face. She had a funny
then we get back to Gilbert Godfrey. He's feeding the thing under the cage, and the critters are there, and they do like a Mission Impossible parody, coming down from the ceiling. Everyone saw that in the trailer. At that point, you're supposed to be like, okay, so I think everyone, even without knowing the spoilers, could see what was going to happen from episode 1. So I don't think anyone really believed that the critter they were coming to Earth for was what Gilbert Godfrey had under in the cage.
Yeah. At one point, I thought it might be, even though we already figured out the plot by that point for the most part, I thought they were going to throw something else in from the little bit of the trailer where you saw the female critter with lipstick on.
Sure, okay.
I honestly thought maybe it was going to be a trans one on just for the sake of that, but I was like, maybe they're coming down to, because they said we have to save the universe. Maybe because I thought maybe they were going to make the hybrid critter was going to come about. Well, sorry, spoiler alert. Even though we're spoiling everything. I almost just thought maybe it'll be a female. Like that's what they're going to somehow their comrade down there is a female. That's all I could think of, was maybe, not that it was in the cage, but somewhere that's what they were looking for.
So they rip the sheet off the cage, the critters do, after eating Gilbert Godfrey, and they discover that Gilbert Godfrey just has a pet owl, who apparently makes critter sounds when covered up by a sheet. Fucking brilliant. Jesus. So the mom's fucking the guy upstairs again, and she hears like something down in the basement. She comes down, and what is it? The first human body we see dead? Gilbert Godfrey. He's all eaten up, but for some reason, even though he's eaten up on the ground, he's covered up by a goddamn sheet. Like the critters took the sheet that was over top of the owl and fucking covered his body with it, almost like they took a few bites and killed him, and then were like, well, let's have some courtesy.
No, I think what happened, if I remember, I could be wrong though, was they ate the owl, but they when he died from a heart attack because he had his heart medication, and that might have been his robe on him. Either way, it had a little bit of like blood splatter.
Yeah, it's some blood on him.
Blood splatter from the owl. I thought that was from the owl. Eating owl.
Yeah,
he was.
I'm pretty sure it's his bathrobe.
Like, happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's his bathrobe, and maybe they might have took a couple bites out of him, but they certainly didn't attack him or anything. They kind
of hinted that he got his dick ate in a bit. I guess it fell into his lap, but I guess I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'd have to. I mean, yeah, I've only seen it till one
time. Then we go upstairs, and the mom Veronica, she's like, they're back, which indicates right there that she knows the critters and has experienced them years before. And the delivery man that she's been having sex with, all of a sudden, apparently he's just been carrying around the same package for 3 weeks. He opens it up and his gun's inside, and he starts shooting bad CGI beams at the critters. And when the critters blow up, they just blow up into a CGI explosion of green. And this is one of my least favorite moments.
Spot too.
Yeah, they jump right into it. Yeah, and like when they roll up over the couch, like their feet are hovering, and I mean, this is when it's the most obvious that they're hand puppets.
Yeah.
The one bites onto the gun. Yeah, and his gun's jammed, pretty much showing that the critter is so stupid that instead of just biting him while his gun's jammed, it just bites onto the. God damn it! You guys bitch for a minute.
That's all. I'm ready to move on from that part because I thought the same thing. It's like you really spent all this time, even setting up these little CG shots, having a VFX guy in there for that. It was just. It did nothing. You just killed a bunch of critters, but we don't care that you killed a bunch of critters. You didn't do it in a cool way. We don't care because there's a million of them, right?
And it's not a good reveal. I hate the dude's fucking haircut. I hate the fact that he was a California surfer dude who could imitate a normal person for 3 weeks, and now that he said he's a bounty hunter, now he has to talk like this the whole time. They would just talk like the way he did before. It was less fucking annoying.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, Chris, thoughts?
I agree with you, and it also leads into the same thing where I was annoyed again in a later scene because the Veronica character, she leaves with the bounty hunter to go find her son, and while they're in the car, he's explaining to her, while he's on a mission from space, he's a bounty hunter, and then she goes, well, she asked that same question that we're asking about the voice. She goes, why are you speaking to me in a goddamn robot voice? And it's like, I was literally just saying that to myself. I didn't need a character to ask the same thing because she shouldn't be asking this because it's supposed to be a fucking serious moment in her time.
Exactly. And she's more concerned with the fact that the guy was sleeping with her with a motive outside of wanting to be with her than anything else. So that's just a big fucking joke. The scene where they're in the truck and he's self-narrating the plot for her is so. It's really talking down to the audience, Yeah. It's like, okay, well, the audience is probably really dumb. They're going to need this explained to them. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's pretty much where we're leading to next anyway. Isn't that kind of where that ends the episode and the new episode starts with them doing that? Isn't that correct?
Yeah. He shows his no face to her one more time. I think that these are the only 2 shots we see the no face in it. And I just saw it. It is green again. They made it green instead of blue. They really wanted to make it their thing,
It sucked bad enough the first time that we saw it. Why did we have to see it again?
No, it is bad. It's so fucking bad. The bounty hunter is probably I keep saying it's the worst part, and then I remember the last episode. Boy.
We'll get to the last episode soon, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, here, so this scene, like you said, you already brought up that he's kind of given the plot. So the thing was, and I won't give away what we're going to talk about in a minute anyway. But his real objective, he would have known. So why would he have been with her the whole time if he knew because remember, he said he's going to go protect her son for her. So this entire time he's been sitting there knowing this. Does that why would he have to wait till the critters show up to do what he already knew he had to do to who? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, because we'll lead right into that because they get to the school because that's where Chris is. To blend in, he sees the dude from Reno 911 and changes into him, who's probably easily the best actor in the whole thing.
And he was actually not that he was funny, but I liked him. He reminded me of his funny characters all the time. Like I still
he reminded me of the principal from The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah,
his version of it. It was funny.
Yeah. So she goes, "You can't take a gun into school." Well, I know I already said this, but he fucking listens to her. He comes into the school and he goes, "Chris, whatever his last name, you need to die." So this whole time he's known that he needed to kill the kid. Why didn't he kill them for the entire 3 weeks?
Yep. And we go into continuity errors there because I think later on, I'm going to go ahead and jump there real quick. They ask, why didn't you kill him when you had the chance? And he said, well, he looked like a normal human being to me. And said, well, but you already knew that he wasn't because that's why you went to go kill him.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So then he walks into the school with a package, says that he's going to kill the kid, rips open the package, and it's a golf club. So then critters start busting through, and he starts fighting the critters with a golf club. But are you telling me that his initial thought was that he was going to walk into the school and beat the shit out of that teenager to death with a golf club? Is that what he was going to do? Because just because his mom's like, you can't bring a gun into school. He's like, well, fine, bitch. I'll just beat him to death with a golf club.
Well, hey, he's hiding the golf club in a box. So why wouldn't he have just hidden the gun in the box?
Yeah. I mean,
he's not worried about it.
It makes for a better scene because we just come out of a scene where the bounty hunter is blasting him with the gun and it's fucking stupid. Him fighting him with this golf club is better.
Way better.
I enjoyed the sequence. I like the whole little wrestling move, dropping the critter on the ground, stabbing it with the fork.
That was all fine with me too, buddy. Yeah.
But how the fuck do you slice a critter in two with a golf club?
Yeah. And also that Matrix parody, which wasn't funny. If he would have hit him with that frisbee, would it have hurt the critter?
I didn't think of that, but
I mean, he literally throws a fucking frisbee at the critter. I feel like, what was it? Okay. And I mean, it leads to a Matrix parody, about a 20-year too late fucking Matrix parody. But
and the only thing I was thinking of the scene from Scary Movie where the Scream guy from Scary Movie, Ghostface, bends back and then gets his back stuck and he's like walking around holding his back. And I was thinking the critter was going to do the same thing.
Nope.
And I hated
all the movie parody references are so dated. They're like all from 1998. I was just waiting for like a critter to turn around and just be like shagadelic, baby. You know, it's like what the fuck, dude.
The whole scene was based off of Terminator. That was the whole Terminator ripoff. They even played some Terminator music in it. The whole scene, the way he comes in, he's got the package, he comes out instead of a shotgun.
It's like there's homages to everything in this, but critters.
Yeah, I know. He thought about more movies than the actual movies.
Well, it's apparent what movies he does like.
Parodies. Yeah,
there's even a Twilight parody.
Oh, that part I know. That was like
you had to explain that one to me
because my daughter was a big fan of all that stuff. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I'll give it.
Well, that's probably the newest reference that they do, and that's like a 2010 reference. It's almost like when he was making this, either he wrote this back in 1998, which I doubt, or he was like, well, the people who would be into this are probably stuck in the past, so stuck in the past that they still like horse beaten fucking references that have been done by Saturday Night Live 50 times 20 years ago still.
Well, think about this too. I think a lot of it is, once again, even the references come from what anyone would remember if you remember the movies. If you say remember the Matrix, you're going to remember that scene. You're going to remember
Well, they're the scenes from the trailers. I've never seen The Matrix or Mission Impossible, but I get those references. Exactly.
They're not thought out. They're not Easter eggs.
No.
Kind of like some people call it a clever Easter egg. No, they're not. A clever Easter egg would be something that someone who kind of knows the whole situation would know.
Shagadelic, baby.
Yeah, even when the bounty hunter said where he was coming from, and he didn't even mention the galactic whatever. I mean, I don't even remember that. But it's just nothing even kind of was like you had watched any of the series or any of the other references. Of course, everyone remembers the Terminator scene, "Come with me if you want to live" type stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I was with you on that. I didn't mind the scene mainly because the Reno 911 guy. Which do you guys remember his name? I feel like a dick, but
Thomas Lennon.
Yeah, Thomas Lennon.
There you go. Yeah. Now he's always hilarious and great. And so
I liked him in the new Puppet Master.
I think him just being in that scene made that. I didn't mind that some of that stuff as much, and at least they used some goo and.
He should have been in the whole movie.
I'm sure they couldn't afford him, and they couldn't get him time wise, and his character wouldn't have made sense anymore. But still, I'm with you. At least, he's a good presence on.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's not a frisbee he throws at him; it's a lunch tray. But that still wouldn't have fucking done anything. It makes more sense.
Yeah. And then we'll pretty much say that's when they move on to the kids trying to get out. Through the window, right? Yeah,
and that's when she's like, "You lied to me about the fur balls," and he's like, "What the fuck is up with the principal?" It's like this guy still doesn't notice that he's being eaten by critters and shit. So then they go through the window, and this is the scene that kind of made me hate Chris, even though the bully's a dick. It's like, I'm not gonna fucking risk my life because that guy's too fat to get out of a situation. Mm-hmm. And I was a fat kid growing up, but I still don't sympathize.
Why wouldn't they have just closed the damn door and given themselves an extra minute?
Yeah, you're so right. There's a door right.
Like, close the door for a second, and you probably got yourself another minute to get the fat kid through the window.
Why wouldn't they have gotten him up first?
Yeah. Or just pull his fat ass through the thing. Get the strong jock kid to pull him through. I'd be like, nah, dude, I'll get up there. He won't need a boost. I'll rip him up through that window like you wouldn't believe.
So then the mom shows up. Why would the mom was there? Okay. So he's helping the fat kid up, and they grab onto his legs, and they don't even eat him again. They just like take some nibbles, just enough to kill him.
They cut him. I think they like slice his cheek and put blood on his arm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the ketchup that the wiener's pouring all over itself.
Oh,
again,
man.
I was like, at least show some fun gore. Like if you're gonna be Gore, it's like a cut on his neck, a stock, and make a scratch like a werewolf scratched his neck, and that was it. No bites, no missing bits.
So then the mom and Chris get pulled down, and he's like, throw the net, and there's just a net that comes out of nowhere, just appears on him.
Yeah, where the fuck did that net come from?
Yeah. It just falls from the sky. It's like, I didn't know critters had that power. We can just make nets appear and fall on people. And then
I was thinking that because he's like, throw the net. And I was like, who the hell is he talking to? They're eating the other kid.
Yeah. Maybe the mom did it. Who knows? Oh, wait, no, she was in the net. So then that's how that episode ends. They're getting dragged away by the net. And that's about the end of the fucking series, right? Like, that's the last good episode, or? This is where it really starts to go fucking bad.
Oh, yeah, because they wake up on the ship, right? Isn't that the deal?
Well, now Thomas Lennon is getting interrogated by the deputies, and he turns into the girl right in front of her. And their reaction is just kind of, still not taking it serious,
Mm-hmm.
It's just
something's wrong.
Yeah, well, this isn't right. Are we in like a bad movie? Oh, I got kind of those.
Yeah, so pretty much there's nothing really to talk about with that part. Yeah, he turns into the chick. They go out and like see the kids, and then the bounty hunter knows to. Oh, that's when the other bounty hunters show up, right?
Yes. They go out into the hallway, and then the other bounty hunters show up. They fucking ran all the way from Australia or whatever.
Australia, then Iowa, or wherever it was. Ohio or something. I don't know where they were.
Yeah. And then the ship finally takes off, and then this is when Sorry, I'm kind of watching this as we're going, if you guys can't tell. This is where they wake up in the ship. And the mom calls him pork chop or something. No, I'm sorry. That happens the whole fucking time. Let's see. This is when they meet the president. I like the president.
Wait. There's a scene before that.
Is there? What am I missing?
Yep. You're missing how the episode starts. And the episode starts with a flashback.
Oh, wait. No, not yet. Nope, that's how the next...
Before she wakes up in the ship, right?
Nope, that's the next one, because she wakes up twice in the ship. They start 2 episodes with that, apparently.
Okay, there you go. You know better than me.
Yeah, well, I'm watching it right. It's going in front of me. So she kind of hints, like, he's like, what would they want to do with me? And she's like, well, maybe it's because you're, and she cuts herself off. And then they get led up to the president. And that's when all the shit starts to go down. He turns around. He can speak English. He's kind of funny. He's got, don't talk back to your mother. That one, I don't know. That was kind of funny, I guess, right? Did you guys laugh at that one?
No.
No.
At all. Well, this is the part of the movie. This is the part of the movie that the second that it started, I was done with this.
Yeah,
I was enjoying. Even with all the bad stuff that I had nitpicked about from episode 1 up through episode 5. When this started, I was done. I was done.
This is where you lose all. There's no redeeming quality from here on out for you.
No.
So she explains to him that she fucked a critter, and that he is a hybrid of a critter, and as he's asking questions, he's like, what about my teeth? And then all of a sudden they fall out of his mouth. Then he's like, what about my eyes? And all of a sudden a critter like shoots him with a fucking laser pen, which just makes his eyes turn to the red. Do you guys notice that?
They took his contacts out or something, whatever it was.
Yeah, I'd like a pen that did that for me. I hate touching my fucking eyes. And then the third reveal, this is where I got completely lost. They rip his shirt, expose that he has a big, hairy 70s vagina on his back. And then he pulls a big fucking quill out of it.
Well, first he doesn't know that the quills are there. He's like, what is a poisonous quill? And they're like, and then he reaches back there and pulls one out. It's like, okay, well, you didn't notice that ever in your entire existence.
I can't. Yeah, that dude has never reached back before and touched his back. Yeah. To notice that he has big fucking spikes coming off. And also the mom's like, we take him to the dentist and once a month for this and stuff. And it's like, if you really had teeth like that, I don't know. I'm not going to go that far on fucking. It is a movie. So anyways.
Yeah, by this point, that's the least of your concerns,
Yeah, exactly. You know what, guys? This movie's kind of stupid.
Are we not supposed to watch this and question things? Are we supposed to just be like dumbfounded by stuff and just be like, it's a movie?
I think we're supposed to be
dumb.
For
all the people that talk shit, for all the people that want to say you have no right to say it or what were you expecting, look at it this way. If you gave the bullet points in 3 or 4 sentences of what this movie was to any fan 3 or 4 years ago, before anyone's been anxiously awaiting this new Binge thing and slowly being we're slowly being fed just enough to where it doesn't hurt as bad when we finally see it type of thing. Imagine 3 years ago, no Critters movies coming out, nothing out with someone says, check this out. And then gives you some of the bullet points of this movie. We're going to have Critters, wearing lipstick. They're going to be talking English, banging chicks.
No.
There's going to be some, fat kid with this. You'd be like, fuck you. Any fan would say it. No one would be.
No, this is like worst fucking case scenario idea.
Yeah.
It's so. No one's ever done this to a franchise before, in my opinion. So I will give it that.
Think of. Yeah,
right.
Nothing so. I don't want to say insulting because I don't get insulted really much. I just play off and laugh. But as far as
I feel like I was supposed to be insulted.
Yeah. Well, like that analogy, it feels like someone's basically taking your favorite things and making them fuck right in front of you, like taking your G.I. Joe and going, hey, how about this, buddy? And it is a scenario and you can't do anything about it. You're like, and
it is.
like, and I think good for them. I hope more people like it for their own sake, and why not? Again, I like terrible stuff too, but this is one of those things where I'm looking at it as in that you can't get mad at anyone for even hating it or bitching and complaining.
No, and I've noticed.
You can't get mad at anyone because it's just shit. Like it or not, even if you like it, you can't get
more
mad
or less
at fans for
everyone who likes it. More or less everyone who likes it has not held it against anyone who doesn't. Because I think it's pretty easy to understand why a fan of Critters would not like, this 30 years later, a franchise that makes a human fuck a critter, and shows it.
And again, I don't hold it against anyone who likes it. I'm almost happy for people who like it. But
yeah, I wish I could be that stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so now we're at the.
Why is my critter dancing so hard?
This is the part where the flashback, correct? This is about where that is.
No, they're going down to the police station.
Well, anything that's worth even discussing, anyway. Is there anything more to that?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it pretty much. She wakes up on the ship again, and she's having a dream, a flashback of her having sex with the critter. So yeah, let's just get right to that.
Oh, go on.
Chris, how about you talk about this one? I want to hear your pain.
Yeah, me and China talked a little bit, so we had a little vent one night.
I want to feel your tears, Chris.
Okay, so the episode starts off, and it's like a daydream, because when she wakes up from it, before I even get into what it is, she wakes up from it like she's remembering it as a happy experience.
Yeah,
which is really weird.
Yeah, it's like the best. Yeah,
especially when she's in like a bad situation, and this is what she's thinking of. It's stupid. But anyway, she's laying in bed. She's making out with a critter, enjoying it, talking to it like it's just a normal everyday thing, like nothing's weird about it. And then she asks the critter to have sex with her and to don't use a condom. I want you to roll down on me.
Yeah, he's got a really long tongue. Yeah, and he rolls down on her. It's the classic critter roll. He goes down her body, and then you see her face while she's having an orgasm.
Then she wakes up, and it cuts. They didn't want to show too much.
Yeah, and then she wakes up, and her son's like, "Mom, what are you dreaming about?" She's like, "Oh, nothing. I'm concerned about you. I wasn't having a sex dream about a monster."
Well, hey, when she says earlier they're back and she freaks out, wouldn't she be like, "Hell yeah, they're back"? There's a whole bunch of these motherfuckers are going to be grubbing down on me. Like,
yeah, really, she liked it that much.
Wait a minute.
Her character,
the one.
Her character's a little odd, anyways, because when we're first introduced to Veronica, she's played off as if she's this really nice mom because she's making dinner. She's hollering down for Chris. She's like, "Honey, your breakfast is ready." And then literally the next episode, she's just like this rude whore who doesn't like her son.
Yeah, I feel like they like filmed the first episode before they wrote the rest of it with something in there. Because she does a complete 180 within 10 minutes.
Well, that one kid, the police kid who played Charlie, I read that little interview he had, and he seemed like he was just like, whatever, we had fun. He kind of mentioned that when Jordan would show up to set, it was more about, which is kind of cool in some ways, of saying, hey, what are we going to do today, guys? Probably partly joking, but probably because our script is like 6 pages of fart jokes that my nephew wrote, and we got to fill in the blanks in the middle of it. Like, we'll just create our characters as we go.
Hey, you brought the fart jokes? I brought the cocaine. I'd imagine that's what it was like making this fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's like one dude just like, it'd be really fucking funny is if we had someone fuck the critter. And then Jordan Rubin just popped up and was like, that wouldn't be just funny. That would be brilliant.
Yeah,
and they did it.
That's in the movie, just like that Key and Peele sketch. It's in the movie.
Key and Peele so much too good to be talked about within this. So that
I honestly think that's kind of like what they almost did in a way, like that skit that I was talking about with the Gremlins 2 skit. How they joke around about Electric Gremlin. It's in the movie and all.
Yeah.
Doing terrible justice because it's an amazing skit, but
it's one of the greatest.
Or a bit, but yeah, that almost seems like they really did something like that for this film, like where they're like, whatever, throw something really dumb and random out there. We're all just sitting here smoking bowls, laughing, and then somebody said, okay, we're taking actual money and we're going to make it. This also seems to me like Warner Brothers. Maybe I guess they sold the rights to Verizon enough to make it. But if there was ever a sign that Warner Brothers does not give a fuck about this franchise anymore.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Who would ever, if you're like, listen, Warner Brothers, I know no one's really made a Critters film in a long time, but listen to this. Sit down for a second. Let me explain.
We're going to have someone fuck the critter. Imagine the pitch. So then the president introduces his son Chris to his new mother, which is a critter with lipstick, and he instantly just calls her mom, and he's all like on the idea that I'm one of them, and he's kind of up for it
at that point either. She doesn't really put up too much of a fight.
No, she doesn't put up a fight. She just kind of looks over like, oh really, And then the bounty hunters show up on the screen, and they're like, if you don't come back, we're gonna blow up your friends. I think he says, we want the Kreitz, and the president goes, I want you to go fuck yourself. That's the only line that made me laugh in the whole thing.
I hated that line.
I like that. I actually liked that one.
You liked it, Chris, or?
Well, Chris Hansen, yes, I liked it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
It was kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
I did not. I felt like I don't know, just Critters cracking those type of jokes did not settle well with me.
No,
it didn't. I just felt like that's something I would say. If someone were to say that, I've said that a million times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it had nothing to do with Critters. Yeah, it was just.
I think it's just the president though, because the president reminded me of South Park, the Canadians from South Park. With like how the mouth.
Yes, he did. Yeah, well, I want you to go fuck yourself, buddy. Exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yep. You're right.
And that was the worst puppeteering of all the puppets. The mouth never moved. For someone speaking, I know he's not speaking English, but for someone you're supposed to be seeing it, the puppet's mouth, it looked the worst of all the puppets as far as it looked like the sculpture was smoothed out more. The hair was flat. Looked cool looking one, but the mouth, like if you watch it, lips don't move.
No,
barely move apart. It was just like, you guys, it didn't look like it had a body. It just felt like it was.
And they have this random gag because they're like, I want to go back to Earth and save my friends, and then he threatens to kill himself with that pill, which is really just a breath mint. And the one critter's like, well, we already got his DNA, so it really doesn't matter if he lives or dies. And then you get to see at that point that the father, the president, is like, no, I care about my son. We're going to go do what he wants. I thought that was him, like, a big hoax or whatever, but obviously he did.
That's what I thought until you said.
So the president does, yeah. So, where was I going with that?
There's a gag somewhere around there.
Oh, yeah. And so then they turn the ship around and they throw in this random gag of the pilot one not being able to steer the ship. And it's thrown in so late, and there's been no character development to that specific Krite, that it's just kind of like, so is he supposed to be dumb? Like, what is, oh, boy, yeah. And then I'm at it.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Okay, now let's just get to this shit show. They get down to the Earth and they get to the hot dog eating contest. And Chris rolls up as a fucking human critter ball.
And it looked like he wrapped himself in his shirt.
Yeah, it looks like a laundry ball.
A shirt that wasn't on, by the way. When he finally gets there, it was like a white shirt. But it looked like he had that red shirt wrapped all around him.
Yeah, and his shirt's ripped so his guts hanging out. And he's got a cape. Why has he got and a tie? He looks like Avril Lavigne's boyfriend or some shit. It's so fucking stupid.
And somehow he automatically knows how to like throw his quills that he never knew existed before.
Oh boy, when he shoots the fucking quills out of his back vagina, that's probably the best shot in the whole fucking series.
There's one better shot coming up after that.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so they're at the hot dog eating contest. He rolls up. He wants to battle the bounty hunters, and they start shooting critters out all over people. And this should be the scene that really kicks ass. But I don't know. I'm going to
skip ahead just a smidge, which is not skipping ahead much. But I will say that I was a little disappointed that it was just one episode at the very end, because I was like, now they have to tie the whole movie up, plus do this whole hot dog thing within 8 minutes or whatever it is. And so the scene, and I'll let you say your part too, because you already had mentioned to me, Sean, but the scene that everyone was like, well, at least this is here, because if there's which I don't consider the crittered ball a big homage. I think it's cool, but at the same time, anyone who's never even seen Critters, that's probably the one thing they remember. You don't even have to watch the movie. And
that's why it's there.
That giant ball. Yeah. So they finally do it. I won't tell them the part you don't like, because I'm with you on that. They finally do it, and it's for like a split, worthless second to say we did it. They spent money doing it, and it goes to roll over people. It's still in this big melee. It goes to roll over people, and one guy dodges out of the way, and then the two people that actually get run over is CG skeletons.
Yeah.
That look like someone shredded paper and threw on the ground. It was like that.
And even when it rolls them over, they turn into CG bodies, and just like
that's what I mean. There's CG skeletons laying on the ground. It's like, wait a minute here. So this is the big. You gave this to us. Everyone. I even myself not caring about that and not letting that be something that really made me excited was like, at least this is coming. Bam. And then obviously you have your take on another part of that, which was really
one thing
CG bodies, come on.
One thing I've never thought of before, but I realized with them doing this, we never wanted to see a giant critter ball become assembled. What makes it work in the second movie is that the barn blows up and it blows out of it, and it just happens. And you're like, my little monster movie just fucking went into a giant monster movie like that. I don't question how it happened, and it's just fucking brilliant. This one, it shows all the critters piling up, and it looks like people are throwing the puppets into a stack sideways.
Yeah. You see in Critters 2, you see them early in the movie form like 3 or 4 critters together to make a ball.
That's right, and it looks great. Yeah.
So whenever the big ball happens, you know that they all had to come together to make the ball the same way. You didn't need to see everything.
Right. They showed it just enough in that early scene. That's it. Because the reality of it, they couldn't have pulled that off back then. It's just something that couldn't be pulled off. Yeah, I don't just show like 1,000 critters roll up into that big ball. It just makes more sense that it's already assembled and then you see it.
Yeah, and it's a fun gag. It's like that part's thrown together. In this, I know what you mean. It's like super close up, and it's like, okay, everybody grab a critter and drop it on the other one, and that was it.
Yes. Then there's a random. I know we're jumping around on here like crazy guys, but there really is a lot to talk about. I'll give it that. A lot to complain about, apparently. So all of a sudden, there's one with red fur, and Charlie just turns and he goes, "They have red ones? What do they do?" And it shoots a quill into a guy's neck, and the guy's head blows up. I think that's actually Jordan Rubin. That's Jordan Rubin, actually. So that's probably the best scene. No, I won't go there.
I hated him like that scene. There was like something cheesy and fun. I hated the critter. Like it just was too fun for looking red.
Yeah.
There was something kind of fun about it and funny in the moment, and also really just like that was also really bad. So I don't know.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was like for the longest time, if you Googled or did eBay searches for critter puppets, a bunch of these like really bad Mexican knockoffs.
Yeah, with red fur. Yeah,
that had red fur, and I feel like all he did he just Google searched critter puppets. And he found the one that had the red hair, and he's like, I'll throw that one in there. That's what they look like or something.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I like the idea that it did something different with, like, shooting the quill that exploded, but the puppet itself was awful.
It looked fucking terrible. And also, even though I liked it, that was one of the moments that like made me feel like a little kid again, where it's like, ooh, there's different ones. Because Tremors does that. Like Tremors probably does it the most of any of the monster movies, where it's like, ooh, they changed them a bit. Ooh, there's a new mutation. It was thrown in. It was such a quick scene. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the last scene that they shot. And then like when the thing blows up, it's just like a still of it, and its feet are placed so improperly on the ground that they're just like flopped to the side like a fucking dong. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
Well, they did that a lot. That was something I noticed quite a bit. Was sometimes you notice that in movies with puppets where there's weird stuff because that's just how it goes.
Yeah,
if we really studied Critters,
even Critters 2 has it. It does. It does.
Yeah, like a folding arm or something. But this was just blatantly like, dude, the puppeteering again. It just seems like people grabbing and also when people want to say, well, they did what they could with a budget. Well, script is not part of the budget. Like you could still write something better. But as far as the animatronics go and the little behind the scenes thing that we saw, not saying that there was a ton of money put into it, but for 3D printed and actual, they looked really. It looked like basic, like there wasn't a lot going on, but it still looked like there was animatronics put into it. That means it's not super cheap. There's tons of parts and stuff. Doesn't take any more time to sculpt them better and to make them move better. That's not a budget thing.
And also, I've never heard of a movie where it's like, well, our budget was so small that we had someone fuck the monster. It has nothing to do with the budget.
Yeah, they threw tons of random gags in that they had to come up with ways to pull off. And I remember like 4 podcasts ago, I said, I will be happy with a new Binge as long as it has a lot of good Critters gags. And I take it back. Yeah,
because I was not happy.
Again, it just wasn't good gags. They weren't good.
No, it wasn't.
It was like, hey, we'll make a critter do this. People will think that's funny. We'll make a critter do that. It'll be cool. We'll make a critter fuck a chick. It'll be cool. He'll make out with a chick. It's cool. We'll put lipstick on a critter. We'll put a fucking leather vest on a critter. That's not funny. That's not cool. That's not clever. I mean, Gremlins too. People want to hate the movie and all that stuff, but not only was the design that it wasn't redesigned aside from specific Gremlins, but they thought of gags, funny or not. They were thought out and they put the time into it. Yes, I know budget's totally different. It's not a comparison. But what I'm saying is everything was looked at. It was thought out. You could still think without charging somebody.
Gremlins 2 had homages to timeless classics, though. Phantom of the Opera, Warner Brothers. I would say Gremlins 2 is on par with Roger Rabbit as a send-off to the 40s, the golden era of Looney Tunes. Critters of New Bitch has homages to the Matrix and stuff that just makes you think of the parody of what it is already parodied of, because it was parodied already so much. It's beating a horse that's been dead so long that you're just beating fucking dust with a bat. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting all pissed off.
But it's true that it was just like, I'm not comparing them as in money wise, because I know Rick Baker doing those things is about as much money as you can get. I know.
Right. I've said before, Gremlins 2 is the peak budget a Little Rubber Monster movie will ever get. Yeah, absolutely.
But the thought that was put into it was just like, let's do let's not think about it. Like, let's just think of popular movies. Matrix, the part where he bends over. Terminator, the part where he has the gun. Twilight, where the guy turns into dust or whatever. And that to me, it just seems so like whatever you thought at the moment, let's not think about it anymore. Let's not try to hash this out and make it a little funny or a little better. Whatever it is, that's what it is. Done.
That's right.
Shoot it.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out the CG later with our.
No.
We'll do it.
I don't think that there was one scene in Critters: A New Binge where they wrote it or shot it and were like, do you think we can do that better? No, I don't think there was one. I would be surprised if there were that many multiple takes of scenes even.
Yeah. I agree with you.
During this attack scene in the park, so whenever I hate the president of the Critters, usually when you hate a character, you want him to die. You just want him to go away. So this happens. They actually kill the main president of the Critters. She wraps a belt around him and chokes him to death. But the belt doesn't even pull on the critter. She just barely puts it around it because she didn't want to damage the puppet. and then they made some gargling sounds from the critter, and it just rolls over.
And his tongue is coming out because they wanted to reuse that effect that they used once while he was going down on her. And I didn't want, did you want the president to die? They pretty much just admitted that the president cared about Chris's son. So that was giving you somewhat of a character development within the president, which had none prior. And then they just fucking kill him. So it's like him or not, he was probably the only real plot device that it had to keep going off of. So she kills him.
Do something clever. Like none of the deaths were clever. None of the
they didn't.
Clever.
They did not want to blow up any. They didn't want to blow up any puppets. They didn't. No. Mm-hmm. So then the mom kills the dad or the president, both, and then comes over and she looks at the son and goes, "Everything's gonna be okay." And then 4 critters jump on her, and terror. They leave some scratches on her and on the ground. And then the most self-referential scene in the fucking movie is when she's on the ground and she goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badass is it? Is it a 3? And I'm sitting there the first time watching it just going, fucking 11, dude. Fucking 11.
And I think the Chris character was thinking the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like the only thing I went, because I couldn't help it before I even watched it. I scrolled through some stuff and I saw you post that. And I
did, yeah.
I was like, yep, that's, I guarantee I wasn't sure how it led up to that specifically. I almost thought that they were making a legit reference to how bad the movie was.
No.
Until I saw it and I was like, I don't buy that they were. I think that just happens to be perfect and hilarious how much it actually references the film.
Yeah.
But then we can go on, since we can bounce around a little bit on this scene because the scene is just kind of bouncing around. But to the to the worst CG shot and the scene that it was just completely stupid and didn't work at all. I'll let you two just say it because we all know what it is. Give me a fucking break how bad that looked.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. The bounty hunter shows up and he was pretending to be the love interest, and then he turns back into the guy, and then what happens?
So the bounty hunter stabs the Chris character to kill him off, which did nothing apparently because there was no stab wound after he got stabbed.
Yeah, with a big fucking dagger right in the fat stomach. I mean, come on.
And so the Chris character, all of a sudden the head grows instantly bigger. The mouth opens up, all CG'd, and bites the bounty hunter's head off. And then he just swallows the head, and then the head goes back to normal size.
Yeah, and he burps or something.
Somebody brought up on the page too, on the group, that there's a shot where the bounty hunters, I don't even remember anymore because I was shaking my head during the time, because it looked like a balloon, basically like someone blowing up a balloon, and it just, even the shape of it, his head got big. But apparently the bounty hunter's laying on the ground with his head still intact. Someone had brought up.
I didn't even notice. I believe it though.
I think I had turned my head away from the screen by that point.
Yeah.
Me too. I think we all were just shaming, like, no. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. The Charlie character is pretty much Skeeter Valentine, I just realized. Chris bites off the bounty hunter's head, and then Charlie's just like, honk, honk, cool, dog. It's so fucking stupid.
I know. Let's high five now. We're cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something we didn't talk about. So apparently the critters have some kind of new technological device where if the critters are getting out of hand, they can twist this little watch or something, and
they turn on loose crashing piano chords.
Yeah, it releases almost like a dog signal, like a dog whistle.
Yeah.
And only the critters can hear it. Yeah, only the critters can hear it. And it's supposed to bring the critters back to where they're supposed to be to get them to stop doing what they're doing. But if you turn it too high, it's
self-destruct.
Sean, you're
kill
roboting
switch
a little bit. You roboted a little bit, Sean, just so you know.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Just giving you a heads up. If you're pacing around
Yeah, I was
now thinking about that. I get it.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
The actual critters actually reference it earlier on in the show, and they call it a kill switch, I believe, or something like that. And if it gets too high, it'll kill all the critters in. I don't know if it's like all the critters in sight or all the critters it's just available to hear it. I don't know how it works.
Within hearing distance, because some do get away. So Chris comes over.
Something we noticed earlier, because Chris heard the signal earlier.
Yes, and while no other humans did, so it pretty much gave that away. Chris goes over to Soul Patch Crate and grabs the thing from around him, and the critter talks to him. He goes, "If you do that, you'll kill us and yourself." And Chris replies to him in Crate saying, "Well, then I'll see you in hell," or something like that, and turns it up. Yes, and then all the critters that aren't main ones blow up, CGI. The big critter ball blows up, CGI. Oh, the big critter ball blowing up was so fucking stupid. God.
What happened? Did they just go park after a while? They're like, "Hey guys, let's just go sit over here." And
yeah. The critter ball's parked when it blows up. It's kind of done, you know. Like apparently they can't form out of it afterwards. Jesus Christ.
Yep. And then Chris lives.
Well, you forgot about the best critter death of all time. Not what is it? Is it Avengers of some sort where or some one of those superhero movies where the ghost away effect or whatever, where the critter evaporates? That's Twilight. Okay,
it's a Twilight reference. That's what I hear.
You guys, anyone listening, whoever, you can make fun of me all you want. I totally noticed that because of my daughter. She loved those things, and I was like, that's it. I think anyway. Yeah. If I'm wrong, that'd be awesome.
Well, I had someone point out that it was a Superman thing on the forum, but then you pointed out Twilight. Maybe the Twilight thing was always a parody of Superman, and you didn't get it. I don't know. Maybe
I thought it was a superhero of some sort, because there was, for the longest time in the past year, there was a lot of people posting pictures of themselves with that same effect on Facebook as their profile picture. But it was it was
Avengers, but that's supposedly what happens when all the Avengers die. Spoiler alert. I guess I never saw it, but at the end of that, whatever, that Thanos guy or whatever turns everyone to dust. So maybe that's it. But to me, that's what I never saw the Twilight that my daughter would watch, but she was telling me about the books that they don't burst into flames, they just turn to dust or something like that. So that's what I thought it was.
Okay.
But I could be wrong, and hopefully I am.
Yeah, well, I think it's more toward the superhero thing, the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, either way, it
it's
sucks.
Awful. It's awful.
So then, none of the main critters explode, because I think if they could do a sequel, they'd want to bring back those ones, which makes sense. Like Pilot and the Soul Patch one, they don't explode; they're just on the ground. And then they take off, and they're, I don't know, Chris, he asked the one girl out on a date, and she agrees. And they're up in space, and they're talking about Plan B or whatever with the lipstick one, and they're all like, "What's Plan B?" Even though if you just turn to the left, the one is made multiple clones of Chris. That's, I guess, if they made a sequel to this, that's what it would be: a bunch of humanoid Chris's running around eating people.
Think about it. Like a big, fat, goofy, awkward kid is much more efficient than a bunch of rolling critters that are vicious, that could technically grow giant if they wanted to, according to the first film. But think a bunch of fat, annoying kids with goofy teeth that can't even do anything except for roll.
Yeah, I definitely want to fucking see the sequel to this. The direction they're going is just no, and that's the fucking note it ends on. That is it. That's it. God damn it. So let's talk about the positive things we liked about it, guys.
I will say this. I was very happy that they had a bowling reference in the movie.
Okay, I'll give you that.
If I say positive already, that was it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that it ended. I cut it into sections, so I cut out every like 8 minutes. There's end credits. That's a terrible way to watch it. They still should have just put it all together as one thing. It's not like they explained. They didn't explain why it's like that, so they might as well have just put it all together. So luckily, my copy of it on tape is all spliced into one thing. But it sucks, man. I've watched it technically 8 times now. I just watched it with you guys. Only I was watching it with you. There's not much redeeming about it. I like the way it starts in some elements with the critters. I like some of the characters of the critters, but not really. If they were to turn this into a TV show, like a cartoon, and use those same characters of critters, I would like it, and I would probably like it better than this. I don't know. You guys, Chris, tell me some positives you like about it, man.
Well, I mean, maybe we mentioned all the positives already. But I will say that we got more critters. People are talking about it. It's got a lot of people interested in the critters films, revisiting them again. I was thinking after I watched it for a second time today, and I was thinking, what would be kind of cool is if it does well, Shudder could possibly make another season of this, but maybe they won't do the same type of like lead off from the same characters and everything. Maybe it could just be, season 2 is a completely different critter story. Season 3 is a completely different critter story. Different, like maybe season 2 could be critters are attacking people at Halloween. Season 3, critters attacking people somewhere else, or it could just have to be different stories, different critters, and that's just a possibility that popped in my head, and it got me excited about the franchise again.
Well, that's the only way that I'm going to accept it, but I'm not. Okay, would you rather that or nothing? Honestly,
nothing. For me, I only say nothing because it doesn't affect how much I love the first 2 films. It doesn't make me like or hate 2, 3, or 4 anymore. But what it does do is nothing for me. As in, the critters are not something you can make. And if you did, like you said, a cartoon, literally a cartoon, like the Garbage Pail Kids, as obscure as that was, something like that, you could do it. The critters are not something you can make a real series out of. That's why this movie was just cut up into that. They could say they were shooting as a series the whole time. That's fine, but it was a movie. They're not characters to build into this unless you want to keep making them weirder and weirder, which is just going to keep going farther and farther away from what we actually care about with the critters. If people really want to put any money into a critters thing, I would prefer to see a low budget attempt. Potentially how sci-fi is going to do it. I don't really have a ton of hope for sci-fi, but there's also some things about what I've heard that could be that don't make me cringe when I think about it.
Yeah.
I just think I don't want this should just go away. As in, like, it should be just done what it is. If someone's going to make another one, we're going to do exactly what we're doing now. We will watch it and we'll talk about it, but there's 0 point to it. It doesn't add to anything positive. So that's why I look at it. I'd rather see, I brought this up to you guys off the air, but 3 and 4 technically, well, you could say 2, but it wasn't 2's fault, is what stopped the franchise altogether. And now 2 wasn't because it was a bad film. It just came out at the wrong time, didn't have the fan base ready for it type of thing, but it grew into something. Now, had 3 and 4 never happened, had they not made those, because they're bad films, like them or not, I'm not trying to say you should like them or not.
Yeah.
But they were done terribly. Had those not happened, maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, when the cult feel started coming back, because remember, The Thing, which is one of the greatest, effects films of all time, everyone loves it, did terrible for years.
Yeah.
It's not very good prequel, but it's still way better than anything we've seen with the Critter stuff, because they waited until that kind of core base showed its head and it became big. Yeah. I think without 3 and 4, it would have had a better chance of that. I think 3 and 4 killed it. This does not do anything but kill it even more.
Yeah, Jordan Rubin.
As far as something,
I feel like Jordan Rubin only went back and watched 3 and 4 because I don't see any influence from 1 and 2 outside of the giant critter ball. And honestly, it almost seems like he just knew that everyone remembered the cover art for part 2, so he had to do it.
Yeah. Well, he mentioned in that interview something about part 1, how he's talking good about it and stuff, but it's Well, then, but you can't say that you think you did justice to the franchise, because if you
no.
we with the franchise, sorry, you can't say we with the franchise. You're not part of it, in my opinion.
I agree.
This is not Critters. This is not Critters. It just happens to have furballs in it.
No, it is not for Critters fans. It is the few people that I notice that do like it. Honestly, I think they are just biased towards it because it is Critters, and they shut their minds off, and they are just happy to see some Critters doing some stuff on the screen again. None of them have any real justification for their praise. I've had a few people try to use things like, oh, well, if it were Trauma, people would praise it. No, they wouldn't. If anything, it would make a
lot of bad stuff.
Trauma is not perfect, and also I don't need a reason to not have respect for Lloyd Kaufman. If he did this, I would be very pissed at him. I am not happy with Jordan Rubin, but I have no right to really hate him. But I mean, I've never been a fan of anything big like Star Wars, but now I finally know what it's like to be disappointed as a fan to this level.
Yeah. It's more of a slap in the face.
It is.
Any of those as well, because it does seem almost like it's like purposely saying, it just seems like someone just says, hey, Critters fans, you bunch of fucking nerds, go fuck yourself. Here's what I'm doing with them. Not,
absolutely.
Hey, I'm a Critters fan, but I'm trying something new. That does not feel that way. And I'm cool with people liking this. That's totally fine. I don't knock them for it, but I agree with you. I think the only way to really like it, is to just, as a Critters film anyway, the only way to like it as a Critters film is if you just will say, I'll take anything Critters there is. And look at Chris, you're one of the biggest fans of pretty much anything Critters out there, and you're being very honest about your likes and dislikes, where I think a lot of people are just like, well, the other ones are cheesy too, so fuck it, this one's great.
No. But we see more in it.
There was so much potential, and none of that potential rose to anything whatsoever. I will say this: I don't feel like I put it in context with the other films. Like, it feels like I don't say, "Oh, Critters: A New Binge is part of the Critters franchise."
No, it's not candid.
Yeah, it does not feel like that at all. I don't put it there. But if they were to release episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to the part where they get, in the school and get attacked and get captured, if it ends right there, cuts out the next 2 episodes and goes straight to the park attack scene, I think I'd be okay with it existing, not in the franchise, but just kind of existing there for Critters fans as like a fan film.
I get, as a fan film, as a fan, it wouldn't bug me nearly as much. No,
because basically,
franchise is not.
No, this would be like if I made Clitters, man. This is exactly what Clitters would have fucking been. It's like if I really tried to put a plot into the scenario of people having sex with Critters, they pretty much did it. And also, a true testament that this is bad. And Chris, you'll understand where I'm coming from on this. Jonathan Lindsay hates it. Now, if there is anybody who got fucking ripped off on their ideas over the years of making fan fictions and like sexual fantasy fan fictions with Critters, Jonathan Lindsay has done that for years. We've had to tell him to tone it down. It almost seems like Jordan Rubin typed in Critters fan fictions, found all of Jonathan Lindsay's shit, but then fucked it up somehow.
Just from what you've told me, that's what it sounds like.
I mean, do you agree with me on that one?
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree. Well, that's agreed.
Yeah. It's a bummer that this is the way that this one turned out. And I don't. He can call himself a fan all he wants, and maybe he truly is somewhere deep down inside, but nothing shows.
No, everyone who was involved in this has already moved on. Glenn has already responded to people saying they didn't like it, and he ended every one of his responses with, I'm moving on to the next project. Goodbye. And that's exactly what I said he was going to do on the last podcast. This is just a job. He might have been, I can understand his excitement. He got involved with this. It was fun to make. He didn't know there was a fan base. He didn't check out the old movies. So then when he realized there was a fan base, he was like, oh, I can't wait to show it to him. He had no idea that it was a fan base that liked what it was into. We weren't just like, oh, yeah, I like those monsters. I don't even think about the plots and whatnot. They gave us complete fucking sexual garbage, man. Like this is, I would compare it to Fritz the Cat, but Fritz the Cat is brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Again, you probably did have a great time because none of them. I think the less of a real true fan you are, the more fun you could have had with this on set for sure. Like being on set, I would have been pissed. I would have honestly, if I got hired to do this gig, I'd be excited, and as soon as I started reading it, I would quit.
Can you imagine any of us showing up to this set midway through, being all excited, and then looking around and being like, "Oh my God, what are they doing to it?"
Dude, if I saw the somebody wearing sunglasses and shit, I'd have been out. Honestly, I'd have been like, dude, no. I'm going to go work on Trees 3. I'm out.
I don't remember if it was in an interview or where I saw this at, but somebody had said that that Jordan Rubin and the people who helped like work on it and stuff was like a comedian. Like they did stand up, they were into comedy.
And Jordan Rubin was a writer for a lot of those comedy shows back in the day.
And they said
he was on fucking Crank Yankers, dude.
And they were saying that's where he's coming from. It's like that's where he's getting all the comedic elements from. And I said I don't care if he's a comedian. Just because what you do in something else doesn't mean you bring that into the other source material. Because for instance, if he's a one-note dude, say if Jordan Rubin did Shakespeare theater and then went up stage to do stand-up comedy, but instead of doing comedy, he just started acting out Shakespeare, people aren't going to laugh at it.
No, because he has no idea where he's standing on. I
don't know if that analogy works or not, but I tried.
I know what you're trying to say, but here's the thing. If this is all of his years of experience cut to a head and showing, hey, look, I'm a funny guy, there was nothing funny about this. There was nothing actually. I mean, the whole thing is laughable, but it's not because it's funny. And even the couple jokes that we got, I think that had those been standalone jokes, you wouldn't even close to laughing.
If Jordan Rubin's claim is being funny, well, I would say he is very fucking bad at that.
It's the worst. It's not funny. I think the critters look better because to some people simply because of this. Everything else is so bad, even they. But they're the least bad of everything. I think the comedy is so bad that I say go fuck yourself or whatever comment makes it way more funny simply because.
Well, we figured out why that's funny. It's straight from South Park. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just that's why I think that in the context of what it is, there's nothing actually good about it. So the little glimpses of things you get normally you wouldn't even notice. You wouldn't even say they're good.
And there is no replay value. Anyone who says they enjoyed this, who is like not, a Critters fan in the group or whatever, is probably going to be like, yeah, that was fun, and never go back to it again. It's just something that they put on while they were making a sandwich, and then they ate the sandwich during the end of it and managed not to throw up. But good for fucking them. But there's no one who is going to 10 years from now be like, man. And there's no one who's going to fucking be like, man, I love Critters and New Binge, and it made me want to check out the old movies. And they really suck. This just is completely pointless. It benefits nobody except the people who made it. And honestly, I don't even think they're benefiting from it too much. This probably just shouldn't have happened.
Someone. I would, and this isn't to agree with anyone that I know that comment that was said before, but if I was making a film and someone on their resume, not that they said they worked on it, I wouldn't care about that. But if they were trying to like show me like, look, this is what I made, I would say,
how good I can do
you
it.
Don't get to, then you don't get to make anything else with my money. Right. That's for sure. And I'm not going to support this. Because just like anything else, I'm not anti this show, but I'm not going to support it with Shudder anymore. Like I only signed up for Shudder because of this. I had it a while ago, and it just.
Joe Bob is good.
I have all the good. Well, that's cool, but I'm like, I have all the movies on here that I would want to watch anyway. So I'm not going to pay for Shudder, and so this I won't support it. As in, I'm not going to try to give it some legs to try to see what else comes out of it. Because if this is what we've been waiting for 25 years, and we finally get something. I'll throw my couple bucks to Sci-Fi.
I gotta get off here in a few minutes, guys. This company just came over. But if I could say one thing about this is, I've never in my entire life done anything but own being a Critters fan. You know, it's always been something near and dear to me. I've never been ashamed of it. Critters and New Binge gave me something to be ashamed of. If anybody were to ever be like, hey, that Critters thing that I know you like, I checked out a New Binge, I would instantly feel like I needed to defend my fandom and be like, oh God, no, that's not what I like. You got to see the movies. It's put something into the mix to make me a little ashamed of it. And
yeah, I'm with you. If you're calling this part of the franchise,
yeah,
someone who's outside of it.
Yeah, what if somebody gets introduced to it this way? You know, and I've had a few people tell me, because you know, there's people who are friends with me online and stuff. They went out of their way to watch this because they've never seen Critters, but they know of me. And then I've had to tell them, I've been like, dude, that's not what it is. Like, oh, I'm sorry you had to see that first. That sucks, man.
I've had the same thing. In fact, I'm working with some people right now that a couple of them I was like, I've been telling them for a while. I said, this isn't Critters. In fact, I'm working with Deborah Valdez, who was one of and Brian Wade, who were both. Deborah was on all the Critters films. She did all the hair work. And she's amazing.
So
Brian Wade is the sculptor. I told them, I showed them the Critters. I was like, look, and they're like, really?
So with that said, does the franchise benefit from this in any way? I'm asking you, Chris Lax. I mean, really,
it does not benefit. If anything, it hurts the franchise, like we were saying earlier.
I know we want more, but dude, we shouldn't. Not if it's like this. It's not doing us anything. I'm embarrassed of this. Yeah. It sucks.
Just because you're hungry doesn't mean you want a shit sandwich. You know,
right? I mean?
Yeah.
And luckily we do have sci-fi's thing coming out, and we have hope, because when our expectations are put, we literally just got handed the worst thing ever could be handed to us. So, I mean, you know, this is going to be better. There's no way this is going to be worse. There's no way. There's no way.
You would have to work. So these guys, in my opinion, did not work hard at making this film.
It can't get worse.
Very hard to make it worse.
It can't get worse. Yeah. No.
I totally agree.
But I got to get off, guys. I hate to cut it short tonight. The next episode we can go into the sci-fi show more and stuff. But if you guys have any closing thoughts, let's
I got one. It's funny that we got probably you get the most hate for both the episodes I'm on. So there you go. You're welcome.
You're like our Artie Lang on Howard Stern.
How dare you?
Now go do some drugs. No. Chris, you got any closing thoughts?
Kill more New Binge.
Oh wow, yeah, me too. Kill more New Binge.
Just kill that fucking New Binge. God damn it.
Wow. All right, guys, I gotta go. We'll end her on that one.
All right.
Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.
Loves. Much love.